Hey, quick note before we get into it. If this is your first time here, I'm Samantha, and this is Make It Inevitable. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Okay, let's go. I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually sit with it for a second before you answer. When was the last time you learned something new? A habit, a strategy, a framework that you genuinely thought, this is it. This is the thing that's going to change everything. And then 6 weeks later, you weren't doing it anymore. I'm not talking about something that didn't resonate. I'm talking about something that did. Something you believed in. Something you told your friend about. Something you maybe even bought a journal for. And then it just stopped. If that's you, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not missing some discipline gene that other people have. You have a gap. And today we're going to talk about what that gap actually is, why it exists, and what it actually takes to close it. Welcome to Make It Inevitable. I'm Samantha, and this show is about one thing, the space between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Not the theory, not the motivation, the real, messy, daily work of closing that gap in your health, your habits, your finances, your mindset, and your life. I'm not coming to you as someone who has it figured out. I'm coming to you as someone who is in the middle of it, building in real time, figuring it out loud. This is episode 1, and I want to start at the beginning with the question that started all of this for me. A few years ago, I had a realization that was equal parts obvious and devastating. I knew what I needed to do. I had read the books, I had taken the courses, I had made the plans, I had the journal, the apps, the accountability partners. I had all of it, and I still wasn't doing it. Not consistently, not in the way that actually moves the needle. I would start strong, hit a wall, fall off, restart, hit the same wall, and fall off again. The cycle was so familiar, I had stopped noticing it. The thing that finally broke through for me, the thing that actually shifted something, was when I stopped asking, why can't I stay motivated? And started asking a different question. The question was this: what is the actual gap between where I am and where I want to be? Not the surface gap, not the I need to work out more or I need to be more consistent. The real gap, the specific, honest, uncomfortable gap. Because here's what I had been doing, and I think a lot of us do this. I had been treating the symptom instead of the cause. I was trying to fix inconsistency with more motivation, more inspiration, more information. But motivation is not the problem. Information is not the problem. I had plenty of both. The problem was that I had never actually looked clearly at the specific thing that was stopping me. I had been too busy looking for the next thing that would fix it. So let me tell you what I mean when I say the gap. The gap is not the distance between where you are and your goal. That's just math. That's just a to-do list. The gap is the distance between what you say you want and what your daily actions actually reflect. And when you look at it in that way, honestly, without the self-protection, it tells you everything. I'll give you a personal example. I said I wanted to be healthier. I said that was a priority. But when I looked at my actual week, not the week I had planned, the week I lived, I was skipping workouts, eating reactively, staying up too late, and starting every morning by immediately picking up my phone. None of those things are what someone who has made health a priority does. So the gap wasn't about needing a better workout plan. The gap was between what I said mattered and how I was actually spending my time and energy. That's a different problem, and it requires a different solution. The solution isn't more information, it's honesty. It's sitting down and asking, what am I actually doing versus what did I say I was going to do? That's the Gap Audit. That's what I built. A set of questions that forces that conversation with yourself. And I'll be honest, it's not comfortable. Most people who go through it tell me it's uncomfortable. That's the point. You can't fix a gap you won't look at. If you want it, it's free. I'll link it in the show notes. Here's the part nobody talks about. We know the gap is there. Most of us know on some level that we're not doing what we said we were going to do. We feel it. It shows up as low-grade guilt or that nagging sense that you're behind. Or the way you feel when someone asks, how are things going? And you say good when you mean fine. So if we know, why don't we look at it? Because looking at it means we have to decide what to do about it. And deciding what to do about it means we have to actually do something. And actually doing something means we might fail. And failing means we were right about the thing we were afraid of. So instead, we stay busy. We stay in motion. We consume more content, make more plans, buy more planners, start more programs. All of it feels like progress, but none of it closes the gap. I spent years in that cycle, and I want to be clear, I'm not fully out of it. I still catch myself doing it. The difference now is that I catch it faster, and when I catch it, I go back to the same question. What is the actual gap right now? Not the gap from 5 years ago, not the gap I'm afraid of, the gap right now, this week, between what I said I was going to do and what I actually did. The question is the whole practice. Everything else is built on top of it. I want to talk about the name of the show for a second, because it's not an accident. Make it inevitable. I didn't choose that because it sounds good. I chose it because it describes the only approach to change that I've seen actually work. Inevitable doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean fast. It means that you have set up your life, your environment, your habits, and your identity in such a way that the outcome you want is the most likely thing to happen. Not guaranteed, not effortless, inevitable. When you make something inevitable, you stop relying on motivation. You stop needing to feel ready. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You've built a system where the right action is the path of least resistance. That's what this show is about. Not inspiration, not motivation, the actual practical, sometimes boring work of making the right things inevitable. And it starts with the gap. It always starts with the gap. So here's where I want to leave you after this first episode. I want you to ask yourself one question this week, just one. What did I say I was going to do, and did I actually do it? Not a long review, not a journaling session, just one question, honestly answered. If the question is yes, then great, keep going. If the answer is no, that's not a failure, that's information. That's where you start. The gap is not the enemy. The gap is the map. I'll be back next week. In the meantime, grab the free Gap Audit in the show notes. It'll walk you through that question a lot more in depth. And if this episode hit for you, share it with one person who needs to hear it. That's the best way to help this show grow. I'm Samantha. This is Make It Inevitable. I'll talk to you soon.